Greetings, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Dreamscapes. And today we have our friend Ashley from New York. Hello, Ashley.
Hello.
Hey. So Ashley's going to share a dream with us. As per my usual process, I'm just going to sit quietly and listen while she goes through it beginning to end. So feel free to start whenever you're ready.
All right. So it was a Monday in September 21st. My college community, we all suffered a loss of suicide. And so that night I had a dream where I was in, of all places, I was in Walmart, which made no sense to me. But I was in Walmart with my parents and my siblings, and it was very crowded. And I felt like I was being talked about, like people were whispering like about me, and like they were all looking at me, and I felt like I was being followed. And I kept saying to my parents that we were being watched and that everyone's talking about me. And like I remember being very paranoid and everything. And then my parents, they open a fridge door that's in the middle of the clothes section in Walmart. And they sit me down in the fridge, like they open the door and have me sit on a shelf. And then they look in my eyes with a little flashlight. And they ask if my siblings are talking about me, and I say no, but everyone else is. And then I don't remember really anything after that, but I woke up crying and hyperventilating.
Okay. So that was the full dream experience, and it was relatively short?
Yeah, it was a short dream. I mean, honestly, it could have been an hour, but it felt like it was 2 minutes.
Okay. It's one thing I think to remember to ask occasionally, and sometimes I don't. What was the feeling of the duration of the dream? So it felt like it elapsed over about a 2-minute period of time. You're in Walmart, these things are happening, and then you wake up.
Yeah, I mean, the dream felt like it was maybe like a half hour.
Okay. So
we were shopping around Walmart, and then everyone's watching me. They're whispering about me, looking at me.
Okay. Yeah, that's good that I asked, because I misunderstood what you said. Is that I thought it felt like the dream took 2 minutes, but it may have actually real life time elapsed maybe 2 minutes in the dream. Yeah, gotcha. Okay. But it felt like it elapsed over maybe 30. And I'm going to come back to that. So the first thing you remember is you're inside a Walmart. And
yes.
And do you remember actually being the first thing you remember inside, or do you remember walking in through the doors with your parents?
We were just in, we had a cart, it was empty, and we were just in like the clothing section.
Okay. Do you remember which clothing section it was?
I think it was the little kids, like girls, I think.
So it wouldn't be, do you have siblings who are younger?
Yeah, but she's not like little anymore.
Okay. So this was actually clothing for someone younger than anyone present.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anything else stand out other than an empty cart, young girl's clothing? Any particular items of clothing? Any configuration of the shelves or clothes racks? Just anything stands out?
I know the one thing I do remember, and I don't even know why I remember it, is there was like little, those little tiny tutus, fluffy tutus that little girls wear all the time.
Okay.
There was just a shelf of those, or a rack.
Okay.
I do remember that being in it's like I was watching a movie. It wasn't first person view. It was like I was watching it happen.
Okay. So you could kind of see yourself with your family from a third person perspective.
Yeah. And the only time it was first person was when they were looking in my eyes with the light.
Gotcha. That's probably, yeah, let's remind me of that there's a scene change when we get to that part of the dream, or a perspective change. I think that's probably relevant. See my wife walking around. Sometimes I wonder if she's going to need me suddenly for something. That's okay. The other thing, and viewers, here's behind the curtain. If you need to take a break for any reason, you get a sudden phone call, you got to go to the bathroom, anything, we can just cut it back together. So it's all good. Very, very relaxed process. So you saw the tutus. Did colors stand out in the dream at all? I mean, some people dream in color, some people don't.
It wasn't like a black and white movie. It was just color, but it's not like any prominent color was standing out.
Okay. You had the feeling that things were in color, but nothing stands out. Gotcha. That's perfectly fine. Just to get a picture of how many people are with you and what they're doing, you got both your parents are there and your siblings?
Yep. And I had 2 siblings and then one of my siblings' friends.
Okay.
So there were 6 of us. And the Walmart was very crowded. I remember it, just like all these people up and down the aisles.
Okay.
Almost like a Black Friday, that amount of people.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been one of the things I'd want to know. So even in that instance, immediately, right at the very beginning of the dream, you had the sense of being just surrounded by crowds of people.
Yes, there was a ton of people.
Okay. Were the people near you doing anything specifically?
I feel like, like that side glance that people do when they're talking about you. Like, in movies, you see it like someone's gossiping. You walk down the hall and they're all like looking at you and whispering about you. That's exactly what it felt like.
Okay. Do you remember, so still in that moment of the first appearance in the young girls' clothing section near the tutus, that was when you got the first impression that these people are looking at me. They're whispering to each other about me.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I attempt the magic miracle. The gods of RNG be with me. Oh, yeah. There we go. Nice and straight.
Perfect.
It's just satisfying. It is. And there goes the cat. Okay. So did anything else happen in that section, or did you move away from that section? What happened next physically in the dream?
It's like the closed section never ended. It's like we were just walking all through it. Like we never went to the food or anything. We were just in the closed section. And then I was sat down in a fridge because I kept saying, I'm like, Mom, I'm being followed. They're talking about me. Everyone's looking at me.
Yeah, let's go to that part before we get to the fridge. How did you communicate with your parents about, it was specifically you spoke to your mom to tell her what's happening?
It's like she could tell that something was on my mind because I remember looking like, I don't know how to describe it. In like maybe a horror movie or an action movie, how the cameras move really fast from place to place.
Okay.
That's how my eyesight was. And like I could just see like all these people.
Almost, I think they call it a jump cut. Here's a frame. Then they're looking at different people. Kind of like that?
Yeah.
Okay. If you had to estimate how many times that experience happened, was it once, twice, 10, 15, or you lost count of how many times it changed to looking at different people?
It was only a few. I'd say maybe 3 or 4.
Okay. Just enough to give you the impression this is happening.
Right. Like, holy crap.
Okay.
People are looking at me.
Yeah. Do you remember, or did you have any sense of exactly what the people were saying about you?
No. All I heard was whispering.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
I felt like, they were judging me.
Okay. Gotcha. So it seemed to your mother that something was happening, like she saw something was wrong with you, something was not right. You were distressed by something, and she engaged you first, or did you respond to her attention?
I think I just went up to her and was like, I'm being followed. I think it was my parents were always together. So they were just standing there, and I went up to them, and I was like, I was feeling followed. They're talking about me. They're looking at me. I approach them.
Okay. Is that kind of how you phrased it? Or is that just the general impression you had of communicating what was going on? Do you remember exact words?
No, I don't. I know that I went along the lines of everyone's looking at me or talking about me.
Okay. Do you remember if you addressed it to both parents equally or mostly to your mom?
I think it was to both equally because they were both just standing together.
Okay. And then which one of them responded to you?
They opened the door of the fridge and sat me down. My dad's the one who looked in my lights and asked if my siblings were talking about me.
So when you're still in kind of the never-ending clothing section, you spoke with them and you told them what the experience you were having. And they didn't verbally respond at that time. The next thing is they're opening the door to the fridge.
It's like we were just strolling down the clothes, and then he just sat me down in the fridge. He opened, like, there's just random fridge. He just opened it. It's like it was purposely there, but we know that fridges don't go in clothing.
Yeah, that's an object out of place. That's interesting. Yeah, that stands out to me. So sudden random fridge, and your dad opened the door?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember him telling me to sit down. He took out a flashlight, like one of those mini lights, out of his pocket, looked in both my eyes like the doctors do.
Uh-huh.
And asked if my siblings were also like whispering about me and talking about me, and I said no, but everybody else is.
Okay. And sorry to kind of jump you back and forth a little bit, but during the process of starting or from the start of being at the 2-2 section and kind of moving down through the clothing section and you noticing these things, did you have a sense of what your siblings were doing?
They were walking in front. They were walking in front of the cart. I was behind my parents. But I'm not really sure if they were doing. I know they were also talking. I don't really know if they were doing anything other than just walking in front of the cart.
And they were interacting with each other and looking around, kind of normal shopping, socializing time. Okay. So if I were to kind of draw a mental image for myself of walking down this row, maybe of clothing racks, siblings and friend, shopping cart, parents pushing the cart, and you behind the parents?
Yes.
Okay. Good deal. So you approached the parents and to both of them you said, people are talking about me, looking at me, and that's your dad reaches over, opens a fridge that's suddenly magically there and sits you down in it. What can you describe a little bit of the size, shape of the fridge?
It was like, I'd say like in a normal apartment size fridge. It wasn't like one of those ones with double doors. It was like fridge, freezer.
It's like just normal household fridge you'd find in the average kitchen. Yeah,
but it was like the freezer was the whole side of the fridge, not like on top.
Okay, gotcha. That's
like the freezer was on the left and the fridge was
side.
On the right.
Yeah. Gotcha. Not sure if that's important, but I just write everything down.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe that'd be funny if it was. Maybe we'll figure out why that specific fridge. Maybe not. Okay. So he sat you down in the fridge. Do you remember what was in there when you sat down? Was it just completely empty? Did you sit on a shelf? Did you sit on top of some kind of food?
I sat on a shelf, but there were no other shelves. Like I'd say about a hip level shelf, and there was no other shelves in it because it wasn't on or anything. It was just like if you were at Lowe's, just a fridge. You can open it, look at it.
Okay. Like almost like a display model. It's not plugged in. It's not cold. You could just open it up and sit down in there. There was no light.
Yeah.
No light on the inside?
No.
Okay. So he sat you down there and he reaches maybe into a pocket or something, or one way or another, he produces a one of those mini lights, and he shines it in your eyes. Do you remember kind of how that happened? Like you went from one eye to the other?
Yeah, it was like he went from one eye to the other and did it a couple times back and forth.
Okay. Does your dad in real life have any medical knowledge? Is he a nurse or a doctor?
No, not at all.
Okay, fair enough. What am I thinking here? And what he asked you was, the first thing he said was, "Are your siblings also talking about you?"
Yeah, that's the first thing he said.
Okay. And your response to that was?
It was no, but everybody else is.
Okay. Do you remember getting a feeling from him about his state of mind or emotional content in the communication? What was the feeling you got from him when he asked that question?
Kind of panic, because I was like, what's going on? Why'd you look at my eyes? I was kind of concerned about why he looked at my eyes.
So that was your emotional response to his behavior.
Yeah.
What did you get a sense of what his emotional state was, or what he was thinking? The purpose behind his behavior and the question and the checking the eyes. Did you get a sense of what he was thinking or feeling?
He could have thought maybe I was on drugs. I don't know.
Well, you don't have to make sense of it after the fact. Just whatever you thought or felt in the dream. Maybe you got no content from him at all in that moment, just a behavior, and that's fine. Sometimes there's a little more there. No content. Gotcha. And what you were feeling when you said no, but everyone else is, was this sense of panic that had been building or consistent since the beginning?
Yeah, it was building, definitely, because as we were in there, it was worse and worse.
And it was pretty intense sitting in the fridge at that moment.
Yeah.
Okay. And did anything else happen at that moment before you woke up? You communicated no, but everyone else is. And anything happen?
No, I shot awake, like I sat up, like shot up.
Okay.
And then I just started to cry, and I couldn't breathe. Like it felt like, I was breathing very fast. And I haven't even had a nightmare. I don't know if it's a dream, nightmare, whatever you want to call it, in so long. So.
Yeah. And, so, again, short, and that's fine. These things don't have to be very long. It's just the intensity of the overall experience and whether it stays with you. That's usually what determines if something's relevant, if we need to have a deeper look at it. So we got that. So we've gone through it twice now, once with your description and the second time with a little more detail and focus on specific behaviors and emotions. Having gone through it twice again now in this moment, did you, as you were describing it, or now afterwards, get any eureka moments? Get any oh, I know what that means type of connections? Did you get any sense of purpose or meaning in any of your descriptions?
Well, now that I think about it, I don't like people, so maybe that's why there were so many of them. Like I am like mildly claustrophobic.
Okay.
And I really do care what people think about me, so that could be related. And I know I need to stop caring, like, it doesn't matter what other people think, I'm me, blah, blah, blah. But deep down, I always care.
Yeah. And yeah, there's, what am I trying to say? I try not to give advice, but that's the general structure of things. And also I try not to tell people answers, so to speak, but I do want to give people theoretical understanding and context and different stuff like that. So I try to be careful around these things. It's like you say you don't like people. I'm sure you have friends, and I'm sure you love your family, and so that's not what you mean, and I understand that. But to clarify, I'm the same way. I can very happily exist in my tiny quarter-acre domain and never leave for a month at a time, and once in a while talk to someone on the internet. That's my comfort level, is like, so I don't like crowds. I don't like being around people. I'm right with you. The idea of a giant area, a Walmart store, huge, full of people looking at me, talking about me, extremely uncomfortable. So I'm right with you there. I'm like, I just got a visceral response to imagining myself in that situation. I would not like that at all. So, that's consistent with your real life experience of that situation. Is this would be extremely uncomfortable. This is not a place I want to be.
Right. Like if I'm with people I know, like I'll go to a party, but as long as my 3 friends surround me or I'm with them at the corner of the party, I'm fine. I don't like to be the center of attention. I don't like to put myself out there. I'll stick with the 3 people I know and that's it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm right with you. That's you're singing my tune right there. My wife had a great expression I heard her use lately, which is, she's much more social than I am. She will just go for a walk to go say hi to friends. I'm like, that's awkward. Why would I do that? What am I going there for? She's like, just to say hi. I'm like, no, I don't do that. Yeah. So she knows I'm socially awkward and an introvert and legitimately autistic. And she says her function in our relationship, and this is absolutely correct, is to smooth my rough edges. We're in partnership that way. I kind of the intellectual reclusive guy. She's the more social person. So like if it's the 2 of us together, we socialize very well and complement each other. But me by myself, not so much. So
right, like my boyfriend, he's outgoing. He'll talk to anybody and everybody, and I'm just like, why do you do this? Yeah. You don't even know the people.
That's what we'd say. Like that's just part of his nature is to be that way. And it's very much not a part of yours. And that's, and I like to say to people, in terms of what's normal, that is completely normal. That is what is true for you. That is your preferred style. There's no judgment in it. It's neither good nor bad. It just is, which is what I get into in a lot of this dream stuff is, it doesn't matter whether dream content is, and there's no way to label it judgmentally good or bad. It just is. And we look at what it is and then try and relate it to other stuff. So far, we've got some great connections in terms of this situation being designed by your mind to highlight being in an extremely uncomfortable position for a reason related to something else. So that's probably the direction we're going with this is, why did your mind say, okay, imagine being in the most uncomfortable place possible and having this negative experience. Okay, now why? So that's what we'll try to get to, if at all possible. I did want to just briefly mention on the idea that you say you care about what people think and say, and you feel like you shouldn't. Maybe I don't know about that. Just in broad strokes terms. We are social creatures. We exist in a society, as people like to say. So the opinions of others impact us, whether we want them to or not. So caring about that is not wrong. It's a matter it's a matter of degree in terms of how much should I allow
maybe
this
I
to
shouldn't care as
me.
much.
Yeah, but that's tough when you got social anxiety stuff going on. That's kind of the core of social anxiety is difficulty managing the intensity of that discomfort and whether or not it's useful to something productive. Anyway, that's theoretical, but that's kind of somewhere where something to keep in mind, I suppose. Maybe just for the audience. Hey, there you go, some Psych 101 stuff for you. So that's where you started, and I think we got off on a tangent. You were telling me something meaningful and connected, and I think I took the ball and ran with it. I apologize. I didn't mean to take that over.
Oh no, it's okay.
Did anything else stand out to you in terms of things that felt important as you were describing it? Like, why does that hit me in a particular way?
Not really. I really don't know what this dream meant. I don't know why I had it. I mean, I honestly think I had it because I'm tragic. Something tragic happened that morning. So
I think it's very, very much connected to that. Yeah. Yeah. And what I'm asking for is not exactly a grand narrative understanding, but like as you were describing specific elements, did something strike a harmonic chord, like almost a visceral feeling in your chest? Like, I don't know what this is, but this image, this experience felt important. Does that make sense?
It does, but I don't think I felt any of that at all.
Nothing stood out to you like that. And that's fine. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I like to do that first before I start offering suggestions, is to tell people or ask people, did anything stand out to you? Okay, if nothing did, fine, we'll move on. But if it did, then I want to focus on those things. And I think that just the first thing that you mentioned is fantastic. And it relates, and we got a little bit of why it's important to your personal life.
Right.
So how about the idea of shopping with your family? Being in that scenario with that many people all at once, is that something you do occasionally? You guys go shopping as a family?
No.
So it's actually...
We never do that.
Never do it. So it's highly unusual. It's not just rare. It's like never.
Like usually it'll be me, my mom, and my sister, but never my dad and my other siblings and their friends. Like never that. At max, there's 3 of us that go shopping at like a grocery store. Or Walmart or whatever you want to call it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Department store type of thing. That might be significant. That's why I kind of keyed in on that. That felt interesting to find out where that was. Is that reflecting actual experience, or is it a deviation? And it is. So for some reason, your brain brought not only your whole family together, but like connected person, siblings, friend is there as well. Not sure what to make of that yet, but I think there's something there of...
right. And like we only go to Walmart when we need like, laundry soap or big bags of dog food. We don't really go to Walmart often. I mean, I've been going to Walmart lately, but
sure,
my family, we barely ever go there.
Gotcha. And is going to Walmart for you lately a matter of resupplying, maybe for school stuff or something specific?
Yeah. I recently moved into an apartment. So, we had to clean it up and everything. So we've been going there for food and for, cleaning supplies, but never for clothes.
Okay. And that experience of needing to frequent Walmart more often for supplies and food happened before the suicide instance?
Yeah. So maybe that's why it was at Walmart, because I've been going there, at least once a week for something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a common environment. And when you go there, or when you were going there in the weeks or however long prior to the event and the night of the dream, did you have like an increase in social anxiety symptoms being around so many people?
No, because usually I'd go later at the day. So actually Walmart wasn't crowded at all.
Okay.
But my boyfriend, he does know how to, be obnoxious in stores and embarrass people.
Specifically embarrass you with his behavior?
A little, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And even if you love him and you're forgiving, it's still like, would you knock it off? Yeah.
Right. It's like, why are you doing this?
I got you. Do you, this may be prying, I don't know, just a sudden curiosity. Do you have a little signal with him, like an elbow, and tell him to cool it? Do you share something?
Oh, I have
intimate?
that, I'll glance at him and be like, it's like that look, that
and he
look.
Gets it? He receives the message and...
Oh, no, he keeps going.
I mean, not recommending anything, but that's something you could have a conversation about. Like, hey, I have issues in terms of feeling extremely embarrassed if I think you're doing something crazy. So would you, if I do this, if I nudge you with my elbow, would you just take a moment and think about how you look to other people?
No, like sometimes I'll be like, listen, can you chill out being obnoxious?
Okay, gotcha. You are establishing that communication with them.
That's good. I do communicate with them.
Yeah, and it's then also him being responsive and getting the message, and you can make it subtle, so it's not like calling him out in a manner that might embarrass him.
Right.
I don't know. Tangent. My brain. I'm still waking up today.
I do it too.
I don't think I've had enough coffee.
It's like, I'll tell a story and then there's 8 side stories with 3 flashbacks,
Right. My worst thing is like, I go to tell my wife something and I say, okay, so today, wait a minute, let me back up. 3 weeks ago, because there's like backstory to it and I got to let her know why I did that thing that day and how it relates to this other stuff. And then I've got future plan. Okay. And it drives her crazy, but she's very
right. And then when you tell the flashback, you don't even remember what you were going to tell her,
I almost need to write myself an outline notes. Allow me now to read what I did on my summer vacation. Okay, back
to essay.
Right, cool, dude. Do I get a thumbs up sticker? Maybe a gold star. I want a sparkly
A+, man.
Yes, A++. Right. Okay, back to you and actually your dream. Sorry. So we're talking about your family being there, and that stands out as something. That Walmart stands out as a setting that a place
that I've been in.
Yeah, and that seems to connect in your real life of a place you're going, a place you've increased the frequency of going to, related to specific supplies you need to accomplish this moving task, cleaning and food and stuff, and it's like the nearest place of supplies. So when you were there in the dream, did you have a sense of, I mean, and I know you were walking through the clothing section, but were you there for a reason? Were you there to buy something, to find something?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You didn't have a sense of that, just being in the environment. Okay, fair enough. And there may or may not be a connection there. I think it is also significant that the people were talking about you. It was this hyper focus on your experience in that place. Like you weren't watching this, they weren't talking about your parents. You weren't watching that third person. It was focused on you. And it was the worst kind of focus, this unknown, mysterious, kind of threatening feel of they're talking about me. They're saying things that I don't know what it is.
But I know they're talking about me. It was like a gut feeling. Like I know they're talking about me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that discomfort with being the center of attention. But also that kind of social situation where there's someone talking about you, looking at you talking about you to someone else has a kind of implied threat to it of like, they're not coming to talk to you about whatever their issue is, whatever the topic is. It's something you're not allowed to know. And there's a reason they're not bringing that to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it has that kind of implied threat level to it. And that's what it feels like in social situations. It's like, dude, if you got a problem, let me know what's going on. And they're like,
hey, literally, like, at least say it to my face.
Yeah, for sure. Are you having any of those situations in real life in terms of where you're having people you feel are discussing you?
The people that do discuss me usually will tell it to my face. Maybe not like right up front, like they'll talk to somebody first about it, but then they'll, come to me and talk to me about it.
Okay.
Like, dude, I talked to my friend yesterday and I really don't like what you're doing, or I don't think what you're doing is a good idea, like whatever the situation is.
Sure. And I'm just trying to process that in relation to the events of that day before the dream happened. It's good that there's not a maybe direct connection. It's that you're not having that experience of people talking about you because of reasons you don't know. It's perfectly normal for someone to consult, say, with a second opinion before bringing an issue to you. That seems healthy and normal. But at least they do bring it to you, and you're not at the center of a gossip wheel where everyone else is out on the edge. Yeah. I just invented that analogy in my head, that visual image in my head. Gossip wheel. I should write that down. Gossip wheel. That's an interesting.
You should put a patent on it.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll create a graphic here, created by Benjamin the Dream Wizard. Anyway, that's moving on. Sorry if there's a little quiet while I go over my notes.
Oh, no, it's perfectly fine.
I think there's also something relevant to being in the young girls' clothing section and the tutus. This is specific visual imagery created by your mind, connected to something about your concept of what a young girl is or represents, or something related to yourself when you were younger, some visual imagery or experience that you're connecting to something present. Does that make sense? Yeah,
like I love kids, so maybe that's why. I have 2 nieces. I absolutely love kids. Like I want my own.
Okay.
I don't know what else to say besides I love kids. Like I want kids. I don't know.
Yeah. So there is something something there. Could be aspirational, could be you're in your mind put you there because that's a place you would normally want to be, maybe shopping for children's clothes to share with your nieces, or to clothe your own child in like a future aspirational sense. It may relate to kind of why you enjoy children so much. Something about interacting with that childlike nature. There's some reason for that imagery in the dream that's connected to that. It's not jumping to mind. I don't know if you could say a little more about how you enjoy playing with your nieces. What is it you feel from the experience?
Like I feel like, and what's a word better than happy? Like joy, excitement.
Yeah, there's a higher levels
like
of happiness.
I feel genuinely like myself when I have my little nieces around.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's where I belong. Like this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah. And they're so extremely non-judgmental, and their judgments, when they do have them, are extremely simple and concrete. And you can
right. Like I feel like it's my purpose to take care of those children, you know? Yeah. I feel like that's my purpose.
So possibly in the dream, you're in a place that represents your sense of purpose or future aspirations, but there's these impediments of like, you're not able to be comfortable in that space, a place you would normally be happy to be shopping. This kid's clothing. Oh, look at this cute tutu. I could buy that for my niece. But there's this experience going on around you of creating, creating discomfort and kind of driving you from that space, or at least driving you to take shelter within that space. Is that bringing anything to mind?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, fair enough. I think there's something there, though. This is one thing I try to do is like, there's the events and there's then
the details, and then there's why.
And there's what they represent kind of in context. I'm not describing that very well, but there's like, just like there's many kinds of chairs. That's the wrong concept. I don't know why I'm thinking of digging holes.
Like the like levels.
Yeah, that's like going up a level and looking at the class of objects or experiences as a whole, rather than the specific experience, which is a member of that class, but different than other experiences within that class, if that makes sense, like categories.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, good deal. That's where my brain goes, is trying to abstract these things. So yeah, I think there's something to that. The idea of being in a place you would want to be representative of positivity, joy, happiness, but then you get this negative experience making it uncomfortable to be there.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And then I guess this is now a good time, and I've done this a bit intentionally of not going straight to that suicide thing, because this dream did happen that night, and I think it may have been related to and motivated partly by that experience on your campus. But I think there's other stuff there. I wanted to get a little bit of groundwork first. How can you draw a connection, or if you take these two ideas and kind of hold them up next to each other, the experience of you being the center of attention and gossiped about, and the idea of this information of the death being passed like telephone style throughout the student body at your school, what do you get when you kind of put those things next to each other in some way?
I don't really know if I know what you mean. Like, do you mean like how are they related?
Yeah, I try not to say draw a direct connection. What I'm saying is, like, if you hold those two ideas kind of in your mind at the same time, does anything show up? Because there's a bit of similarity there of like, what happens when someone dies? Well, word spreads. And
right, like we all got an email. The entire school got a mass email about it.
And then everyone starts going to their neighbors, oh my God, did you hear? And there's this whole discussion, and the campus kind of becomes
and then
a buzz.
Everyone posts their, oh, we will miss you pictures and blah, blah, blah.
Remembrances, condolences, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's the experience that you had watching that happen around you. And I'm wondering if are you feeling any relevance or connection of any kind between that phenomenon as it happened that day and then the dream later where suddenly you are the center of attention in this crowded space?
I'm going to get a little personal here.
Okay. If you're comfortable with that.
Like, yeah, I do have, at my high school, when I was in 8th or 9th grade, she wasn't like my friend, but we were all marching band nerds, okay? And so
me too.
And so a girl from our marching band, she also committed suicide. Wow. So, I was related back to that. And then the year I graduated, someone who was in our graduating class also committed suicide. So I do have a little PTSD from it.
Wow.
It's right close to home.
That's a lot
of people. It hits me a little bit.
Yeah.
And, I've never attempted or anything, but, I did have thoughts about it, self-harm.
Sure.
So I know when things like that happen, when people do, take their life, I know how they felt. I know how like deep down they were feeling, because I've been almost in that spot before.
Yeah. Full disclosure, me too. I've had my own struggles with depression, anxiety, social anxiety specifically. So when people say when I tell people I know what it feels like to be suicidal, I do. Quite literally. So I'm in the same boat with you.
Right.
I can absolutely, not just sympathize, but empathize. I know what that feels like.
Right.
So that brought that back to your mind in a more intense way. You're like, what, again? Jesus. And now you're kind of relating it to these past experiences. The
girl who did take her life, I didn't even know her.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it happened, right at my, quote unquote home. Happened right in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's really close to me, and it just made me feel off all day.
For sure. Yeah. I wonder if there's a relation to that and the idea of past experience of having had suicidal thoughts. And then if there's a connection, I mean, the first thing that jumped to my mind was the idea of, okay, if I did that, I would then be the center of attention. But I wouldn't be present for it, but now everybody would be talking about me, looking at me, or wondering about me. Does anything connect there?
Now that I think about it in the dream, how everybody was in front of the cart and then it was my parents and then me behind them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this would work because, they were talking to me like after, once I got sat down in the fridge, but maybe all the people could have been talking about my family. It was like, oh, that's the family, like I don't really know.
Sure. You just had that sudden feeling that maybe the gossip it was about you, but it wasn't directed at you as if you were present. Like,
right.
I got you. No. I think that's important. That's one of the things that happens during this process is
all of a sudden it just clicked in my head, cause I was behind everybody.
Yeah. And you tell your parents something's wrong. Broad strokes, a class of things. I'm communicating discomfort and something's wrong. And what your dad does is put you in a kind of a safe place. He's like, here is a container. You are safe here, and I'm gonna pay attention to you and focus on, are you okay? I don't know. There's something there. Does that resonate with you?
I don't know. I mean, I do like I feel safe when I'm under blankets, when I'm in, as much as I don't like confined spaces, as long as I'm by myself in a confined space, I feel fine. I feel comforted.
Yeah.
So maybe he was just trying to make me feel safe. I'm not sure.
And I may have pulled that idea out of my head and put it into yours. And I try not to do that, but I realize I jumped to the idea that a refrigerator is technically a safe space because of its structure. But I don't know if that's an association you have with that. But I hear what you're saying. And there's two different concepts going on. The claustrophobia is like trapped in a confined area without the ability to leave of your own volition. That's kind of the claustrophobic thing is this is too small. It doesn't feel right. I don't like it. And I can't leave. And then the panic. What you're describing with the wrapped in blankets or being in a cubby hole type of comfortable place is more of a swaddling effect. Like when you wrap an infant and they're a little restrained, but it's this comfortable hug type
but
of
it's
feeling.
Comforting. Yeah.
Yeah, and that often, very often comes down to choice. Did I put myself here? Can I take myself out? Is this entirely volitional? Therefore, I feel comfortable. I am in control. And the claustrophobia is more an out of control feeling. I've been put here.
Right.
I'm stuck here. I can't get out, even if I wanted to. So yeah, separating those. And it seems unusual. It's like, what? I thought you hate small spaces. Kind of. Not exactly.
Right. That's where it contradicts itself. Like if I was trapped in an elevator by myself, I think I'd be fine. But if there were at least 4 or 5 other people in there, I'd start freaking.
It starts to feel crowded. Yeah. Gotcha. No, that's true. And that's one of those things like that's very personal. Some people would say elevators, I don't even get in them. I can't. I take the stairs. Even if the stairs are technically a smaller space they're walking through, it's just that idea of being, once those doors close, you push the button and you hope it opens.
Right. It's like you can't get out.
They can't do it. Yeah. It's that control.
But the stairs, you can control where you go.
Yeah. A lot of anxiety is very much wrapped up in control. How in control of yourself and your environment do you feel you are? Anyway, broad strokes on that. So, what were we doing? I was going to ask you, specifically a little more. What are your associations, or what ideas, feelings, concepts come to mind with a refrigerator?
I don't know. I mean, I like to eat food. I'm a stress eater.
Okay, so it's a place you actually do go for comfort sometimes.
Yeah, like if, it could even be for just like a couple grapes, but or if I'm bored, if you're bored, you eat.
Yeah.
I'll just walk over to the fridge, grab a couple grapes, grab a water, just something. I always go to the fridge.
Sure.
Whether I'm stressed or just bored.
Okay. So my association was kind of parallel or in line with yours in terms of the fridge being a safe space. And you're even describing it as a source of anxiety reduction, a comfort-seeking mechanism. Go to the fridge. Sometimes I go to the fridge, I open it up, and I look at things. I'm like, and I close it. But I was just there, and I
do that
looked.
too.
Yeah. You just look. Like, do I want anything? Not real. I'm not really hungry. Whatever. I was
looking all the cupboards too, and be like, nah, I don't want anything.
Nothing here. Yeah. I try and buy healthy stuff, and then I go eat the crackers and chips, and I know.
Right.
I gotta stop buying those for sure. But I love them.
I know. I can tell myself that.
For sure.
I do it anyways.
Yeah. So if we go back through a little bit and kind of look at the dream in total, you're in a place you've had to go to frequently for necessary supplies. You're abnormally with your whole family. They're all with you in this experience of going through a young girl's clothing section with tutus that might be related to your aspirations to motherhood and your joy in childcare. And you've got this experience of people are talking about me. They're referencing the family itself. And when you communicate to your parents that this phenomenon is happening around you, your dad takes you to your safe space, comfort area, puts you inside so he can make that connection of looking into your eyes with a light to assess almost from a medical perspective, are you okay? Are you having the experience that your family is also participating in this exterior threat? And you say no. So there's a sense of your affirming your family is also a safe place. I mean, taking you back through it kind of at that meta narrative level, does anything come to mind?
I don't know. I mean, I went home a couple weeks ago, because I don't live where my parents do anymore. I went home and I felt off even being home. Like I just didn't want to be there.
Okay. And that was prior to the night of the dream?
No, this was after.
That was after. Okay. I don't know was that a planned trip home that was already on the scheduled prior to the night of the dream?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that could have figured into it too. You're and usually if an event occurs after the dream, it wouldn't be related to the dream. But if you know an event is coming before the dream happens, you could dream about the potential stress of that future event. So it could be your family's in this dream and they're all together because you're going home where they are all going to be together and you're going to be with them. So that could have been incorporated into it. How? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't really know. I mean, my dad is usually never home. I mean, he's home. Like, he works. My mom works 3 days a week.
Okay.
I don't know. Usually it's only when we're home alone, when there's no parents. It's the dog, the cat, me, and my sister.
Yeah. Do you have a pretty... this is a tough thing to just, because if people ask me if I have a good relationship with my parents, I would say yes. And they say, how often do you see them? And I say once every 2 or 3 months. And they're like, that's a good relationship. I'm like, yeah, we love each other, we care, and we don't want to see each other very often. Not because we don't like each other, but we're just
but it's like
solitary people. So I don't know what's normal.
Right, you live in your own life.
Yeah, and I don't know what's normal for you in terms of that was a preface to asking the question of how your relationship is with your dad. Is he someone who checks in with you occasionally to ask if you're okay, or do you wish he would more often?
Well, I'll be honest, he's not even my real dad. He's my stepdad.
Okay.
But, he basically raised me. I've known him since I was 7.
You'd say he's been at least a decent or a good father?
Yeah, yes. Okay. He's the father, and he's the father figure, yes.
Good deal. And he's someone you feel comfortable approaching if you have a problem, and he...
Not. I usually go to my mom first if I have a problem.
Okay. Gotcha. But that is interesting that, you addressed both parents in the dream, and yet he was the one that stepped up to sit you down, look in your eyes. Are there moments when he does that, when he says, I feel like I need to step in and be more engaged in helping you or solving a problem? Have you had that experience with him?
Yeah, I mean, I do go to him about certain things instead of my mom.
Sure. Areas of expertise.
But it's not often.
Okay. It could be
in the dream. I go to him. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead to describe. Yeah, what's a example maybe of a problem you would bring to him instead of her?
Like, I went to him about, needing to change a tire for my car, or changing my oil.
Yeah, areas of expertise type of thing.
Right.
Gotcha. That's kind of what I had in mind. And that's where I was going to go with my next question is, or trying to relate it to the dream, is like, why would he be the one your mind decided would take action in that situation? So it's probably related to the nature of your relationship with him, in terms of, at that moment in the dream, what it represented is something you felt he was the more authoritative on. He was the one who could address and solve the problem, or at least the one you felt needed to face it.
Yeah, he usually, like, if I go to my mom, say I was, feeling nauseous or had a huge headache, he'd usually be like, what's going on?
Okay.
It could be this, this, this.
So he steps in to try and provide solutions.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Putting it all together.
Like, let's say, when I had my wisdom teeth growing in.
Yeah.
I told them, I was like, listen, my jaw really hurts. And he'd be like, he'd whip out his flashlight, look in my mouth, and be like, yep, they're coming in. So
that's actually something he's done. That's a physical behavior from real life, is whipping out the flashlight and checking out something.
Yeah.
That's a memory you have of him. Okay. I'm wondering, the sudden thought just occurred to me is that this recent suicide at school, and it throws you back into, wow, this experience again. I've known so many people, and I've had this thought myself. What if I did? And so you go to bed that night, not what if aspirationally, but like your mind goes to the place of, if I did this,
right,
if I followed through on that, and then you dream about it, and probably that it's throwing so many images at your social anxiety, your future aspirations with kids, and the idea of having someone, not authoritative, is it? But like that's the wrong word for it. It's more of a competence type of thing. Having the most competent problem solver take charge. You're like, I would hope this would happen. If I were at risk of following through on that temptation, God forbid, I hope the person most capable of solving this problem would sit me down, look in my eyes, and ask me, are you okay? Does that make sense?
It really does. Oh my God, that makes a shit ton of sense.
Did you have a moment? Did you get chills?
I didn't get chills, but close to it.
I got chills as I was speaking. I'm like, oh my God.
I know. It's like something definitely just clicked in my brain.
Yep. That's that eureka moment, that light bulb turning on. I don't know how else to describe it. There's just like, I swear to God, 5 minutes ago, I had no idea what I was going to say to you. I'm like, well, thanks for calling. I hope it all works out. And then that just popped into my head like, holy crap. Wow. I live for this type of experience, and I can't believe I get it like almost twice a day talking to people. Whew, this is amazing. I love it. Well, I don't know. What do you think? We got something? I mean, these things don't have to drag on for 2 hours. They do sometimes, but sometimes we just nail it. Wow.
Yeah, that actually like makes a crap ton of sense. But I don't like personally, like if I'm saying it right now, like right now, me probably would not approach him.
Yeah.
If I had those, temptations, blah blah blah. I mean, I'm over those temptations now. Like I've grown out of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know why my dream would make me dream about that, but maybe, like you said, it was the what if.
Yeah.
But that does. Wow, I'm like mind blown.
I know. I don't even know what to say half the time. Like, I just want to live in that moment but it's like it's dead air. It's like I could just stare at nothing and just feel the significance.
Right.
And it isn't that you would
exactly what's happening.
Right. And it isn't that you would necessarily approach him, but that you draw comfort from the fact that if he became aware of a problem like that, he would step in and try and do something to help. And that is also a source of comfort. Like he would put you in the fridge. He would put you in the comfort space, the swaddling. You would feel that love and support, and you could. So I think it's a very optimistic dream, even though it's bizarre and uncomfortable, which is kind of weird. Sometimes nightmares are the most optimistic dreams when you kind of put it together.
Yeah, having it explained and like talked about now, like that.
That's good. Well, I mean, I should probably let you go while that feeling is still resonating with you, and let you get out of the spotlight and just process it. I think that might be the best thing to do. I don't want to keep you here forever, but I don't want to let that feeling fade either, because you could probably meditate on it for a while and get some more useful information. If you feel good about it, do you have any more questions for me, elements of the dream to go back and look at a second time? I don't want to rush you out the door.
I don't know. I mean, recently I'm doing things that my parents don't really like.
Oh.
I am dating someone a little older than me, and they were like, I don't like that you're doing that. So that's actually really weird.
Huh.
Because my dad was the one who's like, I don't approve of this at all, because, he's all...
Is it okay to say
whatever?
How much older?
6 years.
Oh, I mean, is it okay to ask how old you are?
I'll be 19 in a month.
Okay. Yeah, they probably still see you
my
as
boyfriend
very
is
young.
25, so yeah.
I mean, my wife and I are about 7-8 years apart. I met her when I was 30, I think, and she was 21, 22. So it can work. It can be good, but I understand the parental concern, especially for a girl, of like getting involved with this older guy.
They're probably afraid of what's going to happen. And
yeah.
He's like, I don't want to have to drive 2.5 hours to come beat this dude up. So
yeah. Well, also the disparity is experience and the risk of manipulation, and not that he is or would, but the risk is there of like, is this guy just taking advantage of our young girl? And
right. And that's exactly what they were afraid of.
They're worried about that. Yeah.
They're like, date people your own age, but people my age, college people, all they want.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want. I'd actually, like, I know I'm, quote unquote, too young to think this way, but I don't want to, mess around with a ton of people till I'm like 27. I want to like, find somebody and be with them, make a life, and then do all that stuff.
Yeah. I think that is not only very respectable, but perfectly healthy. And not that it's unhealthy, say, to feel more of an urge to sow your wild oats. Some people do, but you shouldn't feel obligated to do that just because your peer group that seems to be their mindset, their attitude. You've got your own preferences, and that should be respected as well. You're like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling this lifestyle. I want to do something different. That might be something to communicate with your parents. or to tell them specifically, like, look, there's a reason I'm dating this guy is because he has a.
We want the same thing.
Yeah, we have similar expectations.
So amazing.
Yeah, more stability, less fooling around, and more because they want to know that you're safe, healthy, that this guy's good for you, and letting them know why it's better that you're dating this type of person. Maybe not even him specifically, but what do you want in a partner that might soothe some of their fears. Yeah, it's worth a shot anyway.
Right. I mean, I did. I was like, listen, all people my age want to do is have sex and not talk to you again. So.
Yeah, I'm not all about that, right?
I'm really not.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's very, like I said, very respectable. And that's, yeah. Well, yeah, if you already tried to tell them that and they didn't quite get it. Yeah.
They don't listen.
Fair enough. Well, that may be another element of the dream too, that you told them something important in the dream and this time they listened. So maybe that's also aspirational or a wish fulfillment type of thing. Or at least reassuring yourself that when it's really serious, when it's maybe even life and death, you're going to get the support you need, even if some other choices they're questionable about or you disagree with them on. Yeah. I think that might be about all I've got for this experience. You feel like we accomplished something useful?
I really do, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate you being here. I understand what this must feel like for people I reach out to. Like I'm cold calling you saying, hello, have I got a deal for you? And you're like, what am I in for? And then you get this. And it's a pleasant surprise, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. Well, I do appreciate you being here, and I'll wrap it up and we'll talk maybe just a couple minutes after to make sure everything's kosher. And I'll just say to everyone watching, thanks for joining us for another episode of Dreamscapes, and like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Ashley.
Thank you.